All right, diving in today with some searches that you sent us. And they all seem to revolve around one main idea, fires in the Carolinas. And
Yep.
I have to say, just glancing through these headlines, yeah, a little unsettling. It's
Yeah.
one of those things where, especially if you have a connection to the area, I mean, you
Right.
naturally, you want to figure out what's really going on. So thankfully, we have an expert here with us today who can really help us break this down and make sense of it all.
Yeah, and just going through this list that you've sent me, it seems like you're really interested in um, what's happening right now and the potential of what might happen in the future.
Right.
And also just geographically, where are these fires happening and are they a threat to where you live or your loved ones or people?
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that definitely comes through in the searches that you sent over. We see a lot of very specific locations, Myrtle Beach,
Yeah.
Carolina Forest, Horry County, Charleston, but then also, these broader searches for North Carolina wildfires or South Carolina
Yeah.
wildfires. So there's kind of this mix of like wanting to know what's happening right now in very specific places, but also wanting to understand the bigger picture, I guess.
Yeah, you can almost see the thought process of like, okay, maybe this is an isolated incident or two, but then when you start seeing, North Carolina wildfires, South Carolina wildfires, it's like,
Right.
well, is this a trend? Is this something that I need to be really aware of and thinking about
Right.
for the future?
And I think it's also interesting, too, you see searches for like Myrtle Beach fire today or, where are the fires in South Carolina? So there is that element of like really needing to know right now, like
Absolutely.
in this moment.
Absolutely. And those kind of searches really indicate, I think, a sense of urgency to know what's happening right now, like today.
Right.
But also, it seems like there's a lot of interest in just like the overall picture and not just like, okay, what's happening in this one place, but like, where are all the fires
Yeah.
and how big of a problem is this?
Yeah. And I have to admit, I see map searches and part of me wonders like, is that just kind of like digital rubbernecking?
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, look at this fire.
Right.
But, you're right. I think that a lot of those map searches are probably driven by people wanting to know, like, am I okay? Are my loved ones okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and just seeing, like, especially with a map, you can see, okay, here's where the fire is, here's where I am. Like, that gives you a real sense of proximity and potential danger.
Right.
And I think a lot of times people think about wildfires, they think about like California, the West Coast, those big, huge fires that we see on the news all the time.
Yeah.
But this really brings it home that it can happen
All
anywhere,
right.
and it's something that we all need to be aware of.
And so then it becomes a question of, what do we do? What can we do?
Exactly.
We've got a lot of searches here that, either explicitly mention or really hint at things like climate change, forest management.
Yeah.
So what's the connection between all of that and what's happening in the Carolinas?
Yeah. So, I can't really give you like exact predictions for the Carolinas, obviously, but one thing that we do know is that climate change is causing things to be hotter and drier in many parts of the world. And unfortunately, that includes the southeast U.S., which includes the Carolinas.
Yeah.
And when things are hotter and drier, you get, kindling, basically. You get fuel for these wildfires to ignite and spread more rapidly.
So it's almost like it's creating the perfect conditions.
Yeah, exactly. The conditions are becoming more and more ripe for wildfires.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you have things like land use changes. For example, more and more development is pushing into forested areas, so you have more people living closer to where these wildfires are likely to occur.
Right. More people at risk.
Exactly, more people at risk and also more opportunities for those wildfires to start, whether it's from a stray ember from a campfire or, a power line that sparks or something like that.
Man, that's a little unnerving.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely something to be aware of, but, it's not all doom and gloom. Like,
Yeah.
there are things that we can do about it.
Okay. So what can people do?
Well, first of all, just being aware of the problem is a huge first step.
Right.
And then once you're aware of the problem, you can start to take steps to protect yourself and your property and your community. So things like creating defensible space around your home,
Okay.
clearing away brush and flammable materials, making sure that your gutters are clean, things like that.
Right.
You can also support responsible forest management practices. So that means supporting policies that promote thinning out forests and prescribe burns and things like that, because those actually help to reduce the risk of wildfires in the long run.
That sounds counterintuitive, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, it seems counterintuitive because you're like, wait, you're setting fires to prevent fires, but
Yeah.
that's actually what helps to keep the forests healthy and prevent those really catastrophic megafires.
Yeah.
And then also, we can't forget about the bigger picture of climate change. So advocating for policies that address climate change is really important as well, because that's ultimately what's driving this increase in wildfire risk.
Okay.
So there's a lot that we can do both on an individual level and on a community level and a policy level to help reduce the risk of wildfires.
Well, that is a lot to take in, but it is encouraging to know that there are things that people can do.
Absolutely.
And I think, the searches that you sent over really show that you are concerned and you're engaged and you want to learn more. And that's the first step.
Absolutely.
And on that note, I think it's also important to remind everyone, this deep dive is just a starting point.
Right.
It's a way to kind of get a handle on the big picture. But there are a lot of amazing resources out there that can provide more specific information about the Carolinas and wildfire preparedness and, where to go for updates and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And as things are changing so rapidly with the climate especially, it's really important to stay up to date and seek out those official sources, because they're the ones who are going to have the most accurate and up-to-date information
Absolutely.
on what's happening with wildfires in your area.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us today. This was incredibly insightful.
Yeah, this was great. I really enjoyed it.
And to everyone listening, stay safe, stay informed, and we will see you next time for another deep dive.
See you later.
Today is your lucky day. Today is the day that our $3 website works for you, paying you directly to your PayPal daily. Imagine $3 ongoing continuous payments to your PayPal account. Imagine falling asleep and waking up to $300 in your PayPal account. How would this make you feel? How could this help you? What bills could you pay? What kind of fun could you have? What does that retirement look like now? All for a one-time payment of $3. This website is DFY done for you, fully built and completely hosted, and never stops collecting payments for you. You have spent $3 on coffee on a regular, but that coffee won't help you create multiple streams of income. Click the link below.